Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wannabes podcast. I am your host, Luke Walters. Joining me, as always, is the wonderful Morgan Holsworth. Morgan, how you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Doing pretty good. And down in the corner over yonder, I think that's the direction I got to point. We have
Yeah.
my boy Anthony. Anthony, talk to
What
me.
up?
How you doing?
I'm good. How about you, man?
Feeling pretty good. Been feeling actually really, really good. You know, we finally got some things in motion, so maybe I can talk about that a little later. But for now, we are here to review the new film currently streaming on Hulu from 20th Century Studios. It's still Dan Trachtenberg, right? Directed this?
Yep.
Yes.
That would be Predator, Killer of Killers. Nice little anthology movie, and I mean, it's got some deep shit in there. I'm excited to talk about it.
Time out. Luke, turn your mic up for the stream, actually.
Turn
You're
my
just
mic
quiet,
up,
apparently.
Turning my mic up. Turning my mic up. Turning my mic up. How's that?
Stop being such a quiet bitch.
That's surprising. That usually that never gets said to me ever. Anyway,
I know. Honestly, when somebody ever tells me, Morgan, you're a little quiet, I'm like, since when?
honestly, is that any better?
Chat, how we sounding?
It's good. Obviously, it's going to sound good to us, but chat, let us know if we need to do any more adjustments. We shall do so.
Still a bit low.
Low. My God.
You can actually take us, Dreaded and I, and turn our the Discord volume down a little bit.
Discord is
maybe
muted.
we're too loud.
You guys ain't even. That's just my desktop audio.
Or sorry, desktop. I mean, your desktop audio.
Let me take you a little down. All right, right there.
That way we're not too loud.
I'll give me a little boosty boost. All right, let's see. Morgan is always loud. You ain't lying. You ain't lying.
Also, while we're on the topic, what's going on, Fridge Kitty? What's going on, Raven Wings? How y'all doing tonight?
Is the audio any better?
Hey.
That's not what I asked.
Hey. Hungry? Up me stuff.
I'm fucking hungry. That's why I got.
You're always hungry.
Honestly, though, that's why I got some chippy chips next to me. All right, I'm gonna assume that the audio is infinitely better. So I'm gonna keep moving on. We do not have news today. It's kind of slow. There was a lot of video game trailers that came out, but thank you, Kitty. But that is a different show, and I don't know. We'll have to talk because I have things
Before
to say
we dive
about all that
in,
stuff.
I can put in a quick announcement.
Go for it. Morgan has.
Well, everybody, just a reminder. What is it? What Tech Reese? No. Yeah, but we have Tech Reese is great. That's my other show. Shameless plug. But that's not what I'm here to promote. But check us out this Sunday. Just saying. Anyway, we have going on right now a Father's Day sale in our merch store where you can save 25% off right now. You can either get a fun gift for your father or just use the discount to treat yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, this ale does end on June 16th at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So go get your sales before you can't and they're gone. You can get not only the Wannabes merchandise, but you can get Techeries, you can get the French Kitty, as well as the Trutash. So any of those
shit. Buy our shit. Actually, no, for real. That some of those
those
hats and shit. Sweet.
I did forget that was a bit of news.
It's just been announced, right? There's they announced it. It's happening. It's Blumhouse, right?
Sorry, not Bloomberg. Blumhouse is the one.
Blumhouse is making a Phasmophobia movie. It's probably just gonna be a run-of-the-mill ghost movie. I don't expect much out of it.
I think it's just gonna be a good found footage movie.
Yeah, maybe so. Although I will say it's cool to see that the developers of Phasmophobia were really happy to announce that. So good on them that their game is getting a movie adaptation.
Yeah, everything you guys said. I mean, they're just doing what they did to get famous in the first place. It's just Paranormal Activity. That's all it is.
Pretty much.
But I mean, we played the games. They're fun. So if we can kind of capture something like that, then yeah, cool, sure.
I just hope no lumberjacks are mentioned in the movie. If so, I'm suing somebody.
I'm waiting to see if this is going to be a PG-13 movie or a rated R movie, because you do get murdered. You get straight murdered in that game, but it's also polygonal and kind of like that. There is a lot of lore, so I mean, if they're going to dig into that, I suppose. But we're also talking about this movie will be an hour 45, maybe 2 hours. So you got to pick 2, maybe 3 ghosts and just focus on that. I would assume. Like, we can't do everybody. 13 Ghosts tried that, and there's a reason why we watch the special features and not the actual movie. That's all I'm saying.
Hold the fuck on now, because I love 13 Ghosts.
You can love 13 Ghosts, but you know you love that lore on the fucking special features.
That's fair. I'll give you that.
Okay.
But still, I love that movie.
It's not bad. It's not bad. So
You had an ad. What did you miss? Phasmophobia is getting a movie.
that we're kind of lukewarm on, but it's only just been announced. We don't know anything else other than it's happening. You know, it is
No
what it is.
additional details
Yeah.
as of yet.
So stay tuned, because we'll have news. There's also the announcement that the Mortal Kombat 2 teaser is coming. When?
July.
So we'll talk about that in July. Everything's just kind of slow right now, unless you do games, but we don't do that. So we'll save that for somebody else's show. Yeah. So that's it for news. Ooh, let's get into the movie.
Boop, boop.
Ah! Oh, that hurt.
I heard
Oh,
that.
God.
I heard that. Are you okay,
Oh, fine. Why do you ask? Oh.
Morgan? Do you have
Yes.
anything to tell us in regards to the making
So-
of said movie?
The runtime is 90 minutes. I surprisingly do not have any budget. They have not released the budget for this film. However, I can say that this was made in partnership with none other than the Unreal Engine. So they used not only the Unreal Engine, but the Unreal Engine animator. This is so good because it is just showing how much evolution is happening to the Unreal Engine. I talk about it, by the way, over on Tech Breeze. We have a video out right now about it. You can go check it out. So saying. Oh, sorry, don't mean to constantly plug Tech Breeze, guys. But you can get a more deep dive on how that was done if you go check out our Tech Breeze video. But to talk about all of it briefly here, just so I don't get very long-winded on y'all, it was really, really cool because you see one of the fight scenes, specifically our Norse anthology side of it, when you see our characters going up to finally storm and raid the character she's looking to get like revenge on, that is all in the animator, a single shot animated scene. Just like how we get single shot things in films, like with our cameras, they did the exact same thing, but with animation. And within the Unreal Engine animator, they're able to go in and really adjust and pan every little animation where the camera would, like how we would naturally have the camera pan down with our actors and then move back up and continue to go. They were able to do all of that as well with inside the updated Unreal Engine and within the updated Unreal Engine animator. So it's a really, really cool thing. As I said on our last show, with all the state of Unreal that we saw last week, there is a lot of awesome updates coming to Unreal Engine, the editor, as well as now the inclusion of meta-human inside Unreal for creating films. So yeah, I would say that's it's super cool. I love it. It's great. It's amazing. Last thing I do want to say for anybody who is curious, because this is an anthology, we do span over, for anybody who isn't aware, the Viking era. We do also go over feudal Japan as well as World War II. So within this, we do have more languages than just English. We get Spanish, Japanese, and Old Norse.
Just if I may, for a minute, because I did have this discussion on set, just how video games have been progressing to where they're basically movies now anyway. Yeah, it's very interesting to see where this is going to go, because the things that they're able to do, technically speaking, and setting up shots and lighting and everything else, it's like you're gonna get your shot. You don't have to worry about weather. You don't have to worry about fucking background noise. You don't have to worry about any of the conditions that like we had to deal with over the weekend, Morgan. Like they just don't have to do that. It looks like it takes a lot more time, but I think especially with this movie, like it definitely pays off. So I'm curious to see how long until this kind of becomes the trend, because it's got to be cheaper to do this. You only need like 4 people. It's cool. I think it's cool, but it also scares me from like a straight filmmaking standpoint, because if it does become the trend, that's less shit for us to do.
Yes and no. I think it just means we get to learn something new.
I suppose, but like I don't have any interest in wanting to learn Unreal Engine, just because I don't I like having the people on set and doing that. I get it. I totally understand. And if we were to put in the time and actually learn it, then we could just do shit on our own. You can produce your stuff right here in like your rooms, like we do with this show. It'd be that easy after you put in hours and hours of work. But yeah, I seriously, I am a little curious and apprehensive about just how much of a boom this might actually be, because it's always going to be cheaper to pay 4 people to animate on their computers at home than have the thousands of people that come out on sets and have to work.
Sure, but if you think about it, you still have your voice actors, you have to have your technicians who are running that. Like, there's still more than just your 4 people you're paying to do a production like this. It's not just the animators.
Sure, true. But
However,
it's still
I
less
think
and cheaper, and like
no, and you're 100% accurate. I do think this is going to make a shift and a change, but we're only just starting to see the sprinkling beginnings of that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to make a massive change anytime soon, because there are those people who are not yet trained on the film side for Unreal Engine. That could be a really dope thing. Maybe that's what we should do. Maybe we should go learn how to do all of our stuff in Unreal Engine. That way we can go land that job on that big movie set for doing this instead.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't
There's pros and cons to this, but
Yes.
I do look at the biggest pro in my eyes is I have some. Thank you, Owen, for your tail in my face. I have some really ambitious films that are heavy sci-fi, like space. Heavy fantasy with like dragons and shit. It may be more obtainable to do some of my work within the Unreal Engine right now, where I'm currently at in life.
Well, then
and what I have at my disposal.
You gotta learn this. I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't write those. I don't do
I already
that.
I am starting to dabble in learning this. So
good. No, good. And yeah, and it is a bunch of opportunities, and it's it's the way forward, and it is cool. This movie is cool. I'll get into it more. But like, yeah, I just go, fuck, man. If they keep catching on, because the movie's good, Enter the Spider-Verse is good. I don't think it used Unreal, but the more this shows capabilities, like my work uses Unreal Engine to do demos and show people how they can customize their cars and shit. I'm not gonna say anything more because I don't want to get black bagged, but yeah, that it's everywhere now, and it's cool. You can do a lot of really cool shit in there. It's nice. All right, so do we want to get into it?
Yes.
Anthony, lead off.
Sure.
You said one more time.
You can start.
All right, everybody. So as we said earlier, Predator: Killer of Killers is officially the 6th actual installation of the Predator franchise. Technically 8 if you want to count AVP, but we're not really going to count those right now. It is an anthology.
Requiem.
You know what? We're going to have this Requiem fight later again. But it is an animated anthology series following 3 time periods of humanity coming face to face with predators. 3 different variations of them too, actually, too. I'm really liking seeing new variations and looks of what predators are all about, actually, as well. So
yeah, I love it. I think it looks sick.
So the first thing I actually want to bring up too, I'm gonna make this one real quick. While the cast isn't necessarily a bunch of it's not built of a whole lot of people we would probably know off the back of our head, and everything like that. But I do want to give a special shout out to an actor who I was really happy to know who had a lead role in this, Rick Gonzalez. This actually means I was really happy about this because Rick Gonzalez actually played in 2 of my favorite movies back from 2005, Coach Carter and Roll Bounce, and I was really happy to see, he's got some more roles. I always get happy when certain people just get another role in the future and everything like that. So I was really happy to see that he was a lead character in this movie.
Coach Carter's a classic.
Yeah, I love Coach Carter. Coach Carter was... I forgot where that ranked in my 2005 movies, but it was up there.
Top 5 sports movies of all time.
It might actually be my favorite. Ooh, wait. Either that or The Longest Yard.
Honestly, my favorite? It's probably Friday Night Lights, but...
Fair enough.
Without getting into that too much.
So, special shout out to my boy, Rick Gonzalez. Other than that, the cast isn't really made up of anyone I would actually know, like, off the top of my head or anything like that. But there is one other person in this movie, and that's actually pretty awesome, considering.
Later.
So, want to talk about that later?
Yep.
And we're not talking about the thing at the end, right? I'm not talking about that.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
No. Okay, so Louis Ozawa, who plays Kenji and Kyoshi, the brothers in the Japanese short, is actually the same actor who played what's his name, Hanzo in Predators.
Really?
Yes,
Ah,
Nice.
that's cool.
and
I love
also,
that.
and to even make it top that off, the last name of these two characters is the same as Hanzo. These are his ancestors.
Oh, yay!
That is so awesome, actually.
I adore that. Okay, literally, I knew watching this that there were gonna be like things I didn't get to catch because I literally got to watch it this morning, so I didn't like to do like some research on it, and
Yeah, I know you
I
signed
love
in. I
that
got an alert.
so much. Yeah, last night we started the movie last night, and then Dan fell asleep on me, and I was like, "Well, I guess we'll finish it in the morning."
Wow, what an endorsement of this movie.
Hey,
Yeah, I
he had been up since 7 a.m. and we started it at like 11 p.m. To be fair.
To be fair.
so I only discovered that because I was just looking up the cast and everything. That's also how I discovered Rick Gonzalez was in this movie. But I thought I was like, no freaking way. Looks like this series is going a lot deeper than I actually thought it possibly could have.
Actually, can you tell me? Do you know? Can you tell me a little bit more about the Predators themselves? Because there's four different ones, really.
Mm-hmm. So I don't have a whole lot of information on the Predators themselves, actually. There's no talking about what clan they come from. Although the one thing I can tell you, and we'll maybe talk about that one a little bit later in the review once we cover like the three storylines, actually, is I guess the last main Predator we see.
Okay.
So I'll save that for a little later, actually.
Okay.
But first things first, let's start off with our first short in ancient Scandinavia back in 1841, which is titled The Shield. And no, this is not a
Morgan's
American.
favorite.
Oh, you know what? Actually, let me take that. Before we actually start talking about it, I want to know
come
our
on.
favorite.
Don't even fucking don't do that. I know for a fact this one's your favorite. As soon as that shit started, like when you showed me the Unreal thing and it was that demo, I was like, oh yeah, Morgan's all over this one. All over it.
But
Morgan,
hold
you
on,
should
hold on.
take it away on this one.
Okay, if I can.
By the way, real quick. When
Yeah.
we got the trailers and everything, a couple days before it released on Friday, because I didn't watch this until yesterday either. But right before it got released, I was talking to a coworker and I was like, "This is either gonna be 3 half-hour shorts, or it's gonna be like I don't know, maybe 5-10 minutes or something segmented like that." And we got the 3. I kind of wanted a little bit
That's
more.
what I expected.
I'm very intrigued with the lore and the expansion that we not only got about how they see Earth, but also how they work themselves. I'm gonna let you take it in a second. So, I'm just a little disappointed that it's just the 3, especially the way that it like converges and shit. I have questions. But
Okay.
yeah, go ahead.
So to go specifically off of that thought, not even talking about like the different eras we get to watch, right? Because I do have a ranking of what era is my favorite to which one is my least.
Right.
So, and if you guys know me, it's probably very predictable.
Oh,
So with that being said, though, the reason I honestly think, especially with the ending that we got that we'll talk about later, this is the beginning of an anthology series. This is them testing the waters of a proper Predator anthology series. I think from what we got, we are going to see more anthologies like these ones. I think this was just them. Let's test the waters with a film with 3 anthologies and see what people think. And if it hits and takes off, let's make a fucking series. Like Secret Level, like the robots one. I'm Love, Death, Robots. Like they have seen those do very, very well. Now they've given us a film that is anthology based on a specific franchise, not like a bunch of little mini different ones that are just reduced down to 12 minutes or less, right? So I really, really think that we're gonna potentially get, especially if this pops off, a full Predator anthology series.
I'm pretty sure it's already popping. Does anybody know? This is popping off right now.
I've seen it all over the place. I've seen it all like I've seen stuff about it all over. So I wouldn't be surprised if it is.
Yeah.
Understandably so.
I ain't mad at it. as long as they do certain things, but which we'll talk about in a little while as well too. So,
Sure.
going back off of my first question, like, so what was everyone? I mean, Morgan, like, we know what your favorite one was.
Okay, I'll just give you my rankings now. So my
Do
rankings,
it.
and this is also like I was equally excited for both the Viking era and the feudal Japan era. If I had to rank them from what we got, and this is going more off of visually for the fights, for choosing between which was my number one, I have to go with Viking era as my number one. I think there is a lot more to show with it. We also had more characters, so we get to see more fighting styles and additional just flashery, if you will, in combat. I love the storyline for both that one and the feudal Japan. Second
Okay.
is feudal Japan. My least favorite, though I still enjoyed it, but my least favorite is the World War II.
Okay. So I want to go next actually because I think mine is going to be pretty obvious, but my favorite one was feudal Japan. My
Okay.
second place was surprisingly World War II. I thought that wasn't my least favorite. Like you just said, it's not that I didn't dislike the first one. It just I just something had to make last place, and it would go to the Viking one actually.
Yeah, and that's how I feel about the World War II one for me. Like
What about you, Luke?
it feels good.
Yeah, my least favorite is the same as yours, Anthony. It is the Viking one. My favorite was actually the World War II because I enjoyed the aerial battles. That's something that I haven't seen, so that was really cool. And then second is feudal
I
Japan.
did that. That was sick.
And like this is what poses a question for me about this is the Predators are a little inconsistent, just a little bit. The first one with the Vikings, the way that she takes it out. I mean, don't get me wrong, all these characters go through a lot. They all do kind of get their asses kicked. But the feudal Japan one takes 2 people to kill it. The American one, World War II one, takes a whole army essentially, and the Viking one just takes 1 person via some ice. So just on that,
I mean, fuck off. That can be said if we can even compare it to Prey and be like, wow, it took her some mud.
Yeah, we can. We absolutely can. That's fine. That's fair. You can say that if you want. I'm just saying in this regard, that's the only one. Because, first of all, I have a question about how the Predators keep coming to Earth when they keep getting their asses kicked. Like, why do you keep coming? Second, they usually lose by some luck. It is some luck when they end up losing, okay? That's in all the movies, more or less. Especially in Prey, it's some luck that he fell in the muck. And in this one, it's lucky that he fell through the ice. It's lucky that actually I forget how the Americans win. Don't they shoot?
It wasn't
down?
luck that he fell through the ice. She planned that.
Whatever. I'm just saying you're supposed to be the most advanced hunters ever, and when the way that they lose,
that makes them cocky.
I get it. I'm just saying it makes depending on the degree with which they lose. I'm not gonna lie. I'm being nitpicky as fuck. Okay, I love this movie. I'm just trying to find things that I don't like about it. That's one of the things. It's like the biggest predator is the one in the beginning, and he goes out in the lamest way compared to the other two. That's all I'm saying.
So I do want to, since you bring up the different predators, so we have. I really liked the pairings of predators we got because I love that we get this bigger, kind of more brute force type of predator going against the bigger, more brute force heavy era. That makes a lot of sense, and I think that's why I don't question how she killed him so much because out of alone, because comparatively to the other two, she had the most strength to be able to, in my opinion, take one on in a hand-to-hand combat sort of scenario by herself because of her training and the way that she fights. Right. Comparatively to, if we now compare it to the training of what we see in our feudal Japan one, to me, it makes more sense, not only to the story, but also to their training style, the type of weaponry they have at their disposal and how those weapons are made in comparison to the different eras.
My man from World War II got shafted in that department.
Yeah, he fucking did.
Also, then, I have questions about that.
I love the comparisons that we get. I love the comparisons we get to all of it, though, because then we see the pilot go against a pilot. I don't know. I love that. I love that it felt like it made sense that she gets a really brute force big guy, where the feudal Japan, they have more of a lanky kind of almost more almost more like a shinobi style, if I had to put him that way, predator.
Yeah.
Versus then our tech pilot versus the World War II pilot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love the pairings. I think
I-
it's really really cool.
I do too. I don't have a problem with it. I'm just saying, in this, for the sake of being nitpicky,
Sure.
it's like that, just how they go
My,
out.
nit, my nitpicks are more to the graphics, because there are some areas I'm like, that looks a little rough.
But overall, I'm very pleased with the stories that all three of them have. I love the conclusions and how they go out. The only reason
Agreed.
why the Norse one is so low is because that one, to me, the Predator goes out in the lamer of the ways, and the story is more, to me, more like paint by numbers. There's a little more difference with the Japanese one, even though that still feels like something that I've seen a bunch of times. And then they're doing aerial battles in the World War II one. I've never seen that, so like, that was sick.
No, and that's fair. That's very fair. I think that was my favorite part. If I had to like say what I loved the most, even though like the World War II for me was lower, I think it was lower because of um I think maybe the little bit too much use of plot armor, on top of in regards also to, I think the character for me just hit home a little less for some reason. But I love my favorite thing about it is we finally get an aerial battle.
Yeah.
Because they have these ships. Like, it would make sense for the type of beings that they are so technologically advanced, that their fighting wouldn't just be done hand to hand, that they would have, you know, for lack of a better way of putting it, they would have pilots who
Yeah.
are seasoned, well veteran, and like they're like these. If we were going to a battle and flight, that's who you fucking want, is this dude. So I like it. I digged it. That was sick.
Anthony, go ahead.
All right, I have a few things to say because I'm trying to remember everything you two just went over in your conversation. So the first thing I want to bring up, and this is actually being brought up in chat from Raven Wings. Thanks for bringing this out. To answer your question, Luke, on like if they keep getting their ass kicked, why do they come back to Earth? Raven Wings brings up by that logic, why would do people keep hunting on safaris when those animals routinely would kill hunters and poachers? And that's actually a very good point. And I genuinely think it's in the Predator's mindset, blood, all that stuff. Because if you remember in the movie,
it's like pride.
yeah,
right?
that is too. That's true as well. But if you remember in the movie Predators, what the hell? Lawrence Fishburne's character brings up the fact that they have dropped in some shit you would not believe that they hunt down and stuff. Like these things are met up for the hunt, and if humans are one of the most dangerous things they can hunt, then they'll keep coming back for the challenge. I think it's really the challenge, and not to mention, shit, if you even look at the trailer for Predator Badlands, that big thing that approaches our Predator, that's a big motherfucker that, let's be real, other than maybe the alien queen in the first AVP, I don't think we've ever actually really watched a Predator fight something like that big. So maybe Badlands is going to be a good look into whatever things they like to hunt too.
So, okay, well, that brings up some other questions for me, just in regards that the... Whoops, first I need to switch back. I've never even switched on that, sorry. I have more questions about the lore that maybe you guys can answer or have some answers on, because like
I can try.
In regards to, I guess, the timeline, I get that everybody's cryogenically, suspended in animation, but like
save that.
No, it's towards. I'm not getting into the actual ending, but that
okay.
They show them. What does that say about the fact that, given off of 2, it seemed like if you win, you get a reward. Whereas this is now telling me if you win, you just get fucking kidnapped.
Okay, you know what? I'll answer that right now. The Predators in this movie are bad bloods. So Predators
different tribe?
have not necessarily different tribe, more of different mindset.
Okay.
See,
Yes.
Predators have the honor code. In Predator 2, you're right. You win, they give you something. That's how the flintlock pistol got given to Danny Glover. And that's how fucking Lex in the first Alien vs Predator got the spear, because of the fact that she helped take down the alien queen. Like, that's genuine. Go ahead.
The way I look at it is the one that you're describing now. Those are good apes. These are bad apes. Like,
oh Lord.
like if we we want to compare it to like Planet of the Apes.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, the honor code is like, hey, they won, you get something in return. But Bad Bloods are a different story because I was gonna save this for later when we talked about it, but yes, the predators in this movie are Bad Bloods. That means they break the honor code and they're more about their own personal glory and gain rather than upping the honor code. It's kind of like comparing, I suppose, a samurai to a ninja, I suppose you can say, which is
It's kind of just like just to use the same analogy that Riven Wings used in chat. We have like poachers know that poaching's bad, but people still go out and do it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but that still doesn't necessarily give me the mindset in why. See, that's why I do like that answer. There are those out there that will reward you, and there are those out there that are like, oh, well, shit, now you have to come and, let's see how good you really are type of deal.
Mhm.
But, like,
If you
I
want to
wish.
compare it to a good cultural example I can think of now is if we
I'm
think of
not.
like samurai. If we think of samurais versus like the samurai, there's a big comparison between samurais and ninjas because ninjas don't mind killing you with your back turned, where samurai is like, no, I will only kill you if you're
I'm
facing me.
not
I will
really
not
looking
kill
at it as far
a
as an explanation. I'm just looking at it as like I wish it was explained more. They
sure.
just the
No,
predators
and that's
are
fair.
there, but like now I have to do my homework to figure it out. Whereas I would have appreciated just a little bit more to let me know exactly how that social structure is defined, which I think is the Predator movie we all really want, is one that actually just focuses on the Predator. Um, I was I had already had with a friend of mine. What do you like better, Predator or Alien? Was the question. I picked Predator. They picked Alien, and the reason why is because they said Predator isn't scary, and I get it. It's more of an action movie. These are action movies. They're not exactly horror, so I understand that. So if we're already going down that route anyway, and it looks like Badlands is kind of doing that, but just give me that story and let me just follow the Predators. I don't necessarily need a human character. You know what I mean? Especially if we're gonna make them in Unreal Engine. I'll read the subtitles, give them their own language. Let me get a Predator movie where it's just predators. I also want to see them fight some aliens. Like I said, I'm tired of seeing them fight the humans and getting their asses kicked because they do ultimately always get their asses kicked. So let me see them actually fight something dangerous in the galaxy because you're galactic hunters. You're not just Earth hunters.
So shit, what did I got? All right, so that was the first answer. So also to go off of like the fact that our brute predator dies in a lame way, I could just be. I mean, you can make a lot of arguments that they always lose, but I do still want to bring up that this is 841, like ancient Scandinavia.
Yeah.
And we've seen from Prey that even the predators had time to evolve their weaponry and stuff like that, and also maybe learn better.
And also, I was gonna say maybe learn the planet better, like what our climate is like, because our world's very different than theirs.
And I'll bring this up too. As much as I like the feral predator, and I read a lot of comments on him and everything like that too. The feral predator, while not big brutish like our Scandinavian predator,
Is that the
is
Japanese one?
still no. I'm talking about from Prey.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
My bad. I should have specified. The feral predator is also brute. Actually, not very. Other than using the cloak, isn't exactly stealthy. Like the dude fought a bear in front of freaking Naru.
He tried to be cloaked.
I mean, he tried. But I want to also bring up the fact that I'm not gonna like call brutes dumb, but that's kind of a stereotype in media. Like the big guy, the big brute is usually kind of the quote unquote stupid one and everything like that. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that's an excuse, but I also would like to. I like the ideal that some of these predators who are more brutish might not exactly be the most attentive to their surroundings and stuff like that. They're just more powering through.
They're not very graceful.
I would also say that that our brute-ish predators could be more impulsive than they're not.
That's a better word. I like that.
Not that they're dumb, but I think that they get more of that thrill, and that makes them more impulsive than holding back and being logical about it. Like we see, in my opinion, like I think our feudal Japan one is a little bit more, took more of a logical approach to his attacking. You even see logic even more so with even our World War II guy.
Well, okay, so that's another thing too. As far as these stories are concerned, the Japanese one and the Viking one, I mean, they kind of the same thing. Which annoys me about the Predators too is that when they come to Earth, there's still this air of unpreparedness. You know, you've been coming here for decades, for hundreds of years apparently, and you're still getting taken out by like a sword or something. You know, like you've definitely gone up against
I
swords
mean,
before.
if you think about it, that's what most of their weaponry is metal that is just shaped into different blades and stuff
I
that
feel
just
like
have the
this is
engineering
helping
of
my argument.
expanding out.
I feel like this is helping my argument of like,
But
and I don't want to
I
have a problem with these characters, but they are set up to be like this invincible hunting thing, and then they just kind of when it's time for it's plot armor, I get it, but when it's time
I
for them to
think
die, it's like, oh, you got felled by something that one of you
I
was
don't
sent to
look at
Earth
it that
hundreds
way.
of years ago and kind of got beat by the same thing.
The way I look at it, truthfully, is that, and I like this part of it in my personal thought process behind the Predator franchise, is the Predators are there for the thrill of the hunt, and if they relied only on their technology, the thrill wouldn't be there because the technology would be the only thing that would win.
I disagree because
And
they use a fuck ton of technology especially as this movie progresses. They're using more and more technology. The Vikings just got the brute beast straight
sure,
weapons. The Japanese got the
honestly,
cloak, and then the fucking World War II. He's fucking flying a spaceship.
yeah, but I think, how do I want to word this? I think neither one of those feel bad to me. Like I feel like the technology doesn't fail there, or like the Predator in like the World War II one, for example, was owning everyone. It was it was very lucky maneuvering and happenstance, and the luckily the
Because it
little bit of
usually
use,
is.
and but also the bit of like pre-knowledge that our character had before hopping in his plane from messing around with the one that felled the other plane,
Right.
of how that tech worked.
Right.
So like I will say that like I can't really fault it for that, because I think there was enough information for the characters to go off of, where there wasn't necessarily ever, oh, this Predator and their technology. I don't think they ever stayed on the same level. I think each time it changed. It went to a different tier.
Right. I agree. I agree with that. But that's why I go like, how are you necessarily getting beaten then? Because you should be over prepared at that point. Like you have the technology of the time as well as all the knowledge of everybody else getting beat. At least you would
We don't
think.
necessarily know how closely they're monitoring us in our evolutions, though.
True.
That was the thing I was going to bring up next, is because if you really think about how the timeline is moving with how far back we've seen predators come to Earth,
Mm-hmm.
like it seems like the earliest is now ancient Scandinavia, and then next up we get feudal Japan,
Mm-hmm.
then we get Native
Right.
American America, to 1940s, to the 80s, to when did Predator 2 actually take place? I thought it was
99.
Was that actually when it was released, or when the
no, it
actual
was
movie
released in
itself took place?
92. It takes place in 99.
Okay, so with 80s to the 90s, which I'd like to imagine closer, so maybe they were more prepared. And the latest time we see them actually come to Earth was the Predator, but that was a whole different problem there, which I still believe they're dealing with a bad blood, if I'm being real. The Mega Super Predator, should I say?
Uber Predator?
Yeah.
Uber Predator is bad blood? That makes sense.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of comics that go into the Predator lore. I don't know the canonicity of them, and I actually don't know all the stories of those. So, but going strictly by movies, there is some significant gaps that predators are coming to Earth. So they could be prepared for one aspect of it, because I like to imagine. Actually, now that's an interesting question. What other predators after like feudal Japan be able to beat our samurai ninja combo, or even Scandinavians? Actually, I'm curious about that.
I mean,
But like,
if just to follow Morgan's logic and the fact that their tech advances, I think, just taking a step in the dark here, maybe it's like they come here, they get beat, and then they advance in technology, and they go, we fucking got them now, and then they get here, and it's like, oh fuck,
And
they
that could
advanced
be.
too.
that could be.
Yeah, and we very much could be. We're just that hunting ground that keeps surprising them and pushing them and their knowledge and their technology to its limits. So we're not only now a hunting ground, we're their testing ground, their proving grounds. The place they can come test their new tech. Be like, do we steamroll them, or can they make adjustments to it?
Now, I also want to bring this up too, because I think we're seeing a lot more bad bloods in the films, more than we have the regular Yochas, because I think the last time we saw a non-bad blood in a movie was Predator 2. Because Predators, I mean, we're not counting AVP because that's a whole separate continuity, but Predators were a group of bad bloods. The Uber Predator was as well, and I don't know much about the Fugitive one, and now we got these guys.
The one,
But
the one that's tied up in Predators,
Predators,
you wouldn't consider the other one?
no, not I don't think the Crucified Predator was a bad blood because the movie
Yeah, okay,
clearly
that's what I'm
they
saying.
talk about in that movie that the two factions, the Predators have a blood feud going on,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
there's
yeah.
a difference there.
Yeah.
But Lawrence Fishburne also says like when they kill one of us, like when we kill one of them, they get really interested, so then they start adapting and everything like that. But it's possible that with the timeline of how often they come to Earth, as much as
I want to see that too.
I genuinely am curious on like how many times a bad blood comes to Earth versus how many times a predator who actually follows the code comes to Earth, because it seems more like bad bloods keep coming and stuff like that, and maybe they think they've got it, but then they were more advanced than they thought or more smarter than they thought, and then the regular ones aren't coming here as often. So that's actually interesting. Well. Yeah, that's an interesting question to ask the series of like who's coming to Earth more, bad bloods or honorable ones.
Okay, I want to take a brief break from talking about the Predators because we're getting very deep into the lore, but there is an actual movie here with 3 distinct plots. So we'll start with the first one. Morgan?
4 distinct plots, in my opinion.
Well,
that's true.
I'm gonna let you guys combine on the last one, but for the first one, Morgan, go ahead.
So for the Viking one,
yes.
I really, really enjoyed this one. So first things first, just before I even like deep dive anything, I want to say I have been saying for years, I want to see Predators going against both the Viking and the feudal Japan eras. I have always thought that both of these eras would be sick to see. I really actually enjoy that there's a story within this story for all of them. Like there is. I'm given, and surprisingly in 30 minutes, a reason to potentially care or not care about individuals within this storyline. And this goes for all of them, genuinely. I really, really love the story and the changes we get to see within the story of this within the Viking era one, because our character let me grab her name, because I want to not just keep saying Viking era. So our Viking like shield maiden or Waress, if you will, Ursa. So she's the one leading this. She is on a path of revenge, right? She wants to avenge her father, and I love that we get to see that. We get to see that happen, and then all hell breaks loose because the predator shows up and deems, oh, they're this group of people who just down this entire stronghold, basically, is the threat, and they're worthy of my hunt. Now, what I love about this one isn't just, let alone the use of the constant shot that I talked about earlier that we saw during the State of Unreal and how that was filmed. I think there's a lot of really nice visual movement that actually shows how good the Unreal Engine can be. Because there's other areas in this movie where the movement doesn't look so good. It looks a little jittery. Like you can tell where they put more focus compared to others. And that's okay. It might have been because of budget and timing. I wish some areas were more polished, but I think this one shows some really beautiful movement and how you can utilize the Unreal Engine to make something like this. And with that being said, there's a lot of beautiful metaphors hidden within the Viking one. She was wearing the blood of her father as a symbol of her revenge. Once she got it, it was gone. It was wiped away. Partially, yes, because she fell into the water and that literally washed it away. But on the other side of it, I think there was a lot of really nice hidden metaphors for her and her character in the progression of her story.
All right. So while it was my least favorite, yeah, the Scandinavian, the Viking one was still a very good story. For me, I actually also am a fan of there being a story within the story of this beef with predators and everything like that. Although it does feel a little fast in some ways, but I guess I'm just so used to Predators having a whole ass movie to set up and build to a final
That's
conflict.
fair.
No,
So,
they
but
are fast.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, they are fast. I'm not gonna give it too much
Very
flack
fair.
for that, but still, it's there, and I'm gonna bring it up though.
It took me a second. The Viking one is the first one, so I was used to it by the time we got to World War II. But like, yeah, it shows the Predators are there, shit's going down, and then they insert themselves. And this one, when the Brute inserts himself, it was like, oh fuck, we're just gonna get right into it. I was like, all right, cool, because
We're
of
here.
the rules. Well, because of the rules that I already know, and it's like, and now I know it's like it's different mindsets of they get involved, but you usually gotta provoke them. Otherwise, they're just kind of hanging out, gathering intel, or they kind of act like space police and they go after the bad guys, right? Like, if you don't attack them or anything, they'll probably leave you alone. But if you point a gun at them or take a swipe at them or something, you're done for. So I was looking for more of that. Now that I have the explanation, it makes more sense, so I won't hold it against this movie. I get it now. But yeah, that first one, especially when the Brute comes in that in the hut there and just starts wasting people away. I was like, oh, all right, cool. We're just gonna. Here we go.
Yeah. So strong first short, actually, with a very interesting main character. Oh wait, I want to bring this up too because Dan Trachtenberg is doing it again. The same thing we do with Prey. They're speaking English in the Scandinavia short, but in actuality they're speaking their native language, which will come into play later in the movie. Actually,
yeah, I like how they did that. It is a nice touch. And I'm wrong. I was wrong, but I debated that heavily when Prey came out. I was like, no, they did like both versions or whatever. But like, no, I was wrong. Yeah, I enjoyed this one very much. These might have some of my favorite action sequences in it because when what is
Honestly,
it?
that's very fair.
Seriously, when
The action, that especially for animated action,
yeah,
it's really good, and I can tell that's where the focus really came in for this animation, and it honestly helps fix some of the animation problems I have elsewhere because where the animation really fucking matters, it looks good as fuck.
yeah, Ursa does work in that continuous shot in the village, and then I actually have something to say about the next one when he gets to it. But yeah, I would give this if I'm scoring them individually, this one's probably like a solid 7 for me.
I will give it a 7.5. No. I'm gonna give it an 8. I'm gonna give it an 8. What you thinking?
10 out of 10.
No, it's not a 10 out of 10.
All right, because it's got shitty animation in a couple spots.
Yeah. I think I'd give it like an 8.25.
Okay.
Did you say 8.25?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. All right, Dan. Next up.
Oh,
Japan.
and real quick, the voice acting in all of them is really great, but I really enjoyed what they did, particularly in this one, because they don't really talk in the next one, but I really loved what they did here.
I agree, and I think there's better emotion in voice acting in this one compared to World War II, where there is more dialogue as well.
I'm watching it,
I
I went, somebody saw The Northman. And by the way, if you haven't, see that movie. It's fucking phenomenal. All right, I'm done.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, that was a really good movie. All right, Japan, 1609, The Sword.
Where we don't talk.
So I'm gonna start with that actually because I actually love that.
Okay.
I do too.
Yeah. All right.
It fits the style so well.
It works.
I got Sifu vibes. For anybody that's played that.
I could see that. I could also see bits of like Ghost of Tsushima at times.
Definitely can.
I genuinely, I know I said I love the Viking one. I love this one as well. Like, it was really hard to choose which one was my favorite.
This
is my second favorite.
This one was I was most excited for this one.
Fair.
But I just want to say the fact that they don't talk in here. I just want to bring up that even though I hated that movie when it came out, when we almost reviewed it and I talked about it, but even though I don't like No One Will Save You, the fact that they didn't talk in the movie was still really fascinating. I think no dialogue is a fascinating way of storytelling until they use dialogue for moments when it really, really matters. So, for what it's worth, it was really cool. Like, sometimes the actions and the emotions that our characters go through says enough. But anyway, so brothers Kenji and Kyoshi, who are the sons of a samurai warlord, are like duking it out to see who will become the next warlord. But one hesitates and doesn't want to fight, but the other is super willing and our eventual shinobi Kenji leaves the family for years and years. And later on in life, our warlord father dies, and our samurai is going to inherit it all. But Kenji is like, nah, I challenge you for that title, while at the same time a predator's hunting them down actually too. So first things first. So I love the action in this one because while I say the Viking one is very good with brutal, bloody action, I really love the choreograph fighting in this one actually, to see who can get a one up on one another in different ways. One of the coolest, one of the coolest moments I saw was when Kyoshi like does a roll and managed to put on a piece of samurai armor. I was like, okay, that was clean actually.
Yeah, that was nice. I was very impressed with how they made the swords look and move, because like once they start going, they're fucking fast. And I was like, oh
yes,
oh things are picking up here. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I also I love the comparison, because I think we get very, because of how they're dressed once the brothers reunite again, and how like their styles are those at the core similar, but because of like like, how do I put this? The one brother has his armor and his sword, where the other brother doesn't have basically any armor, but has a lot more weapons and tools at his disposal. And I love how it almost has that, also from the color scheming of the two brothers, to how clean one is compared to how the other one isn't, and compared to like shavenness, if you will. Not that he looks unclean, but I think they have a really fun, subtle yin and yang kind of comparison to me, with how the brothers look and act, and like what's at the disposal versus the other. I loved that, and I think it makes sense why in unison, like the yin and the yang, you're able to defeat the predator together. I think I really like these first two because of the hidden metaphors within in the background that maybe has nothing to do with the actual fighting.
Well, something extra done for the film. Now, I want to talk about this predator too, because for one, I'm so happy that's the thumbnail in the YouTube video, Morgan, actually, or the YouTube live stream. Because when it comes to design wise, this was easily my favorite predator. I like that it's a leaner predator, actually, more capable of some faster movements with awesome weaponry, actually, too.
Because I also think that this is a good set. Like, I think seeing this design of a predator helps people also wrap, like, and especially see one in movement and to understand how they're kind of maybe fight and work, might help for Predator Badlands, because we seem to be getting a more lean and lankier predator that everybody was kind of like, what the fuck? That doesn't look like what the happened to him? Where's his, you know what I mean? Like, where's the muscles? I think this is a good lead in to help people understand, like, just like there's different builds for humans, there can be different builds for alien races. And I think it's good for Predator Badlands that we have seen the comparisons and the difference between the body types of a predator now.
I would say we already got to start on that with Prey, actually, because the feral predator was a very different predator too. So,
but I think we're getting this one, and Badlands seems to be even more lean than the feral one, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, the feral definitely has a bit more muscle. And also, I just want to bring up that the predator in Predator Badlands is an outcast for being a runt. Actually, he's apparently a weaker one. So there's
the one we follow, or the one or the other one.
The one we're following in Badlands, that we're gonna follow, should I say? Yeah. But I love the weaponry that this predator. I love the weaponry this predator uses. I know it's a different continuity, but I also like to think that like the chain like weapon he has is a precursor to something Wolf used in Aliens vs. Predator Requiem, actually.
Thank you.
Why do you insist on bringing up the worst one?
Because that had my favorite predator.
You need to calm down. You just need to chill.
Listen, I will acknowledge that Requiem isn't the greatest. I just don't hate that movie even in the slightest. And Wolf was freaking awesome.
That movie is literally a slight against filmmaking.
Yeah. We've been through it, but we're gonna constantly go back and
forth.
Luke,
you're a slight against my life.
This is
I'm
true.
kidding. I love you.
This is true.
I'm kidding. I'm
You
kidding.
choose to
I
do
love you
this.
a lot.
Eh,
I keep coming back.
Yeah, I know. So it can't be that bad.
Just like we all keep coming back to the Predator franchise, so you can't be that bad.
No, and it's not, and that's what I'm saying. I'll fully admit that like any of the critiques that I have, it's really just nitpicking or like just minor annoyances, especially considering the lore. You know what I mean? But other than that, like this movie was fucking phenomenal. Yeah, the non-speaking took a minute for me to get into. But I did love the little poem that they said in the beginning and how they put that in. That was pretty
loved
nice.
the use of the haiku.
Yeah, it's like, you know, the first one's pretty brutal. This one's a little more sleek. You know what I mean? I think that's the best way to put it. And
I think that's very befitting also of the different eras that we're looking at.
Yes, I do too.
You know, it was more brutal. It was more messy during the Scandinavian Viking era versus feudal Japan. There was though things still were brutal and not great. There was more form.
I stand no chance in any of these eras. That's what I got. It doesn't matter if it's 840 BC or if it's fucking 1941 World War II. Like, I got no shot at any of these. Like, these are certified badasses that are out here. I'm gonna show up. Like, if I had a time machine and I showed up, I'm probably dead in 5 minutes because somebody's, you know, gonna stab me. I'm gonna get the dysentery. But like, it'd be bad. It would be bad. I'm glad I'm not alive during those points. Like, whoever came before me to get me here, thank you. I'm good. Couldn't do it.
So continue on with the short. The fight between Kenji and the Predator is so damn cool.
Yes, it is.
Especially when other guard samurai get involved and they just get murked actually too.
Well, that's because my man just uses them as meat shields. Like, he goes, "Hey, it's your problem." Pretty much.
Like, here, go get him.
Since we're talking about comparisons, that's fucking Goku and Vegeta bringing Broly to Frieza. Have fun.
Oh Lord.
I mean, I love that though because it shows instead of more reactionary and impulsive, that then the one from feudal Japan becomes more logical and more like logistical for their fighting, and I love that comparison. Fucking flashbang! Are you trying to blind people?
No, it's on your camera. They didn't see it.
Oh, well, he flashbanged us, guys. He turned on his light and his pasty ass blinded us.
Sorry, I am a lot of things. Pasty is not one of them.
You haven't been out in the sun a lot yet.
I have. It's not showing up right now, but I have. Anyway, continue.
I'm just
you have the
teasing
camera.
you. I love you, bud.
You have the camera.
I'm sorry. I love you, and so I'm messing with you. I'm really sorry.
Flashbang you again. You keep it up.
No, I think I love how feudal Japan feels more logistical because though don't get me wrong, there was logistics. Ursa actually did play a logistical game. It was just very different because it was environmental. She used a lot to her of her environment to the way she moved across the battlefield and how she used maybe ice in a fucking falling through it to her to her own advantage. However, with that being said, like this does take a more sneaky, more logistical approach to it in the feudal Japan, and I love that. So it's something like we see a little bit of that even in Prey. Like Prey, just to compare it to Prey, since that's the most recent one, she made plans, she made a trap. So she knew how to make traps and she was really good at that. So I think it's nice to see how there is the very stark comparisons to the different eras that these are meant to be filmed in.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the fact that that these two characters have that feud, but at the end of the day, they're still brothers. They still have a connection, and they use that flawlessly to end up getting the upper hand and ultimately winning their battle. So I did appreciate that too. Like, I was fooled. I was like, okay, we're gonna get right back to it, and then they do the thing, and then the Predator dies, and I went, oh fuck, okay, that's what actually we were doing. That was pretty sick. Didn't have to say anything. Nope. We just knew. So that's cool.
That was at the cost of Kyoshi, but at the end of the day, they won the battle.
So this one, what are we rating it?
8.
8.
That's how close they were, guys.
Yeah, 8.
I'm giving this an 8.5. This was easily my favorite one.
Okay. Anything else?
Wait, hold on. What did I give the Viking one?
7.5. No, you gave it an 8. You did give it an 8.
Yeah, I decided 8 because for when I really think about it, yes, it was really cool and it was really cool. I think the fight scenes definitely helped. This is 8.5. All right, Luke, take
Yeah.
it here from here. Talk
Yeah,
about.
so the next one, we follow the character of Torres, who is a World War II soldier. He is on the front lines. I believe, what is their plan initially? They're going after a battalion of Germans, correct? I think that's what they're flying into. And
They're in the middle of the battle. They're in the middle of the Battle of the Atlantic.
Yeah, they get into a dogfight. So
Yeah.
the Air Force, the American Air Force takes off to fight off against the German Air Forces as well, and they go into a full-blown dogfight against each other.
And our man is a little bit of a hotshot. His plane, the intent that I got is that his plane takes unnecessary damage. He's a little, he's used to having things done for him. He's a little coddled, and when you see him, he's trying to fix his plane, but like he doesn't know how to do it because he never bothered to learn. I mean, I kind of relate. But he ultimately gets left behind. His battalion goes on without him. They start getting into that dogfight, and then we got our airborne predator that shows up and inserts himself into the middle of this battle, and now we have to get the upper hand. And I do like that Torres has to go from, first of all, he needs to learn how to do the thing, right? So he's already thinking ahead and thinking about how he's going to figure out problems. It's already problem solving. And then he has to get used to working more or less with his team, because it seems like he's used to kind of hot-shotting it and doing it on his own. So it was cool to see him work in with his teammates. Like you said before, Morgan, he figures out how the technology works. He races out there in a plane that probably isn't all that ready to go, and ultimately isn't. I do like the scene of him kicking off an engine. That was pretty cool. Yeah, and we have aerial battles, which to me are fantastic. Never seen them before. I think they're well choreographed. They're shot very well in Unreal. They're rendered very well, animated very well. It was cool. And that Predator for airborne battles has some cool fucking tech. Like, my man is out here is just straight sashimiing fucking airplanes and people inside of them, and it's sweet. Awesome. What did you guys think?
Man, this was the one I was probably least excited for. Not that I was gonna hate it. I was just like, I don't know if I want to see a Predator dogfight. Turns out it was actually really fucking dope.
Yeah.
Because Predator airship weaponry is quite similar to regular Predator weaponry, actually. I saw a lot of similarities between a bunch of things, including, I think, a net that closed in, which is...
That net was sick.
Yeah, that's going down as one of my favorite Predator tools so far, actually. Cinematography-wise, for, I guess, Unreal animation and stuff like that, was dope. I was rooting for Torres hardcore to just keep solving problems that keep coming up and everything like that. Also, somebody fact check this. Were soldiers really like kind of autopiloting their plane while standing on the wing trying to fix it in the middle of a fight? Because I was looking like, Torres, what the hell are you doing?
No. Could it logistically potentially be done? And maybe there was somewhere in history where it had been done by a fucking crazy motherfucker. Yeah, it is possible. People weren't doing it on the regular. That wasn't a normal occurrence.
I could see this maybe on an older plane where you actually would strap yourself to the fucking wing to be able to get around. Like, yeah, maybe those planes, those guys would probably walk across and fix some shit, maybe. But, like, yeah, as far as, like, suspending my disbelief, that kind of had me going, I don't know. But it ended up being cool.
Especially the speeds of which he was already moving.
Yeah.
If the speeds were slower, I think there was, just for the sake of it looking cool and make it, and like, him being in, like, using his ingenuity to get this done, and to get like crazy shit done. Be like, man, this is like a guy who in the heat of battle and in the heat of flight can figure shit out. I think aside from that being the main quirk for us to like this character, and the main thing driving this character and his story, it's able to get away with it because of that.
Yeah, I think so too, but I pretty much expected that to go how it does actually go, where when he steps on the fucking wing, it just immediately goes right and starts to nosedive. So I was like, yeah, that's what did you think was gonna happen? And then they do. I don't know if you could actually do that in real life, pull the fucking wing yourself, but even if you did, you still have your body weight on one side and nothing on the other. So
I mean, as long as you're able to open that flap to get that aerodynamic underneath it, it could technically steady itself out.
I'll buy it to a point.
Theoretically.
Yeah.
I'm willing to let it go. I'm willing to let it go. I just thought, like, were they actually doing that shit? Because
Well, we
if
had
they
pretty
were,
much.
I'm
Oh,
surprised
sorry.
Call of Duty
Rosgriz-
hasn't pulled that off yet.
Right.
Rosgriz in chat though needs to go watch the World War II one because he's my plane guy and could probably give us like better info on that.
Yeah, it's like up until that point, everything has been pretty grounded. You know, I can buy everything that had happened in the other two shorts. It makes sense. But then that happens. I'm like, that's the one time where I was like, all right, movie.
This one is where physics is a little stretched for sure.
Maybe so. I'm willing to let it go. I'm really willing to let that go, though, just because.
But for me, like I said, the fact that we have the aerial battles and it looks amazing. Like, I'm seeing things I haven't seen before. I've seen the Predator fight Samurai and fucking do, like, the ninja thing before. I've seen him come in and be a brute and just fucking rip people in half. I've never seen the ship actually, like, engage in combat.
Totally fair. However, the outcome we get of this part of the anthology is not necessarily, in my opinion, doable in any other location other than over top of the fucking ocean. Because he would have just the ending of his story, he would have just splatted if he was anywhere else than the ocean.
Sure.
Yeah, that is.
No,
very
I'm
true.
sure that went into it. I'm sure that absolutely went into the thought when they decided where we're gonna place this at. You know?
Yeah.
Because you could have done another one where you have just a World War II soldier, boots to the ground, you know, doing essentially what Dutch does in the original. Like, we could have done that.
Yeah.
Perhaps so. But at the end of the day, this short ended up being a lot cooler than I thought it was going to be.
I will give it that. This one I was, as you said earlier, dreaded. Though I was interested in it, and I do like my World War II stuff. It was the one that didn't have my interest as much as the other two, and it did end up being better and more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be, and that's because of the aerial battles.
I was 100% looking forward to this from the first trailer. I was like, they're fucking gonna be in the air. Holy shit, that's awesome. This is the one that I was most looking forward to the most, and it definitely could have been the one that disappointed me the most, like, without a doubt. But it didn't.
And that's fair.
It absolutely lived up to my expectations.
Surprisingly, I think Torres is our weakest character. Not in terms of physicality or logically, but even just like his dialogue. Like, just I think watching him work what makes him a better character than him actually speaking and showing emotion.
No, it is. I mean, look at the styles that you've got. The first two are very grounded, very realistic, very much of their time. They're dirty. I'm gonna say mean.
They're more emotional.
Yes, this one is like, I don't want to say propaganda, but it's more like, you know, it's like pro-American. You know what I mean? And we've got a Latino going out there in the U.S. Army during World War II, and he's fucking overcoming the odds against not just Germans in the air, but fucking an alien species. Like, yeah, all that is there. And he does take the biggest hit as far as the weapons that he gets to use, the fucking physicality that he has, because he is actually the weakest of the three. He is. But the thing that he relies on the most, kind of like Naru and Prey, is just straight brains. Straight brains.
Yeah.
That's just enough.
And maybe reaction time.
Huh?
That too.
Like reflexes.
Yeah.
Because you have to have good reflexes to do what he was doing in a dogfight.
Yeah. Like, he's not a scrub by any means, but compared to the other two, it's like, yeah, you're coming up a little short.
He's the one who's definitely not gonna win a 3v free for all fight.
Yeah, he's not winning.
I was
the fist
about
fight.
to say,
No.
which makes a lot of sense for what we get for the end of our film.
So let's rate real quick, and then you guys can go ahead and get into it.
This one's a solid 8. Oh.
Sorry. Oh, we can do ratings, but we have stuff in chat.
Okay.
That I want to address in a second. Go ahead.
So solid 8. Solid 8. Same score as the Scandinavia one, but I do like this one more than the Scandinavia one.
7.
Okay.
7 for me. It's still really good. I really enjoyed it, but I do think there is areas that are weaker than the others.
8.5.
Okay.
8.5. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead and address chat.
Real quick, because so Rosgriz just went ahead and watched the dogfight real quick to help give us the answers. So our question was, so the guys are first questioning, how realistic is it that one would get out of their plane mid-fight to kick their burning engine off of their airplane? And then secondly, with him being on the with him being on the wing and him adjusting the wing flap for the aerodynamics, would that actually have re-leveled the plane back out with his weight being on that countered side?
Yeah, because now
Playing that
we're down
type
an
of way.
engine, but we're up a human. You know.
It probably could though because he loses engine weight.
I
That's
guess,
true.
but that's
And
a
he- and
heavy
he's
that's a
counteracting.
heavy ass engine as it is, right? So maybe this doesn't go down, but the other side should.
And that's fair. No, that's fair. That's why I'm curious of other thoughts.
Mhm.
Rosger's also worked on planes for a while. That's why he's my plane guy.
No worries.
Gotchas.
Also the biggest fucking plane nerd you'll meet.
Plausible. Okay.
Okay, that's what I
Okay.
was saying. It's plausible. It's possible.
Fair.
All right, I'll accept it. I
Yeah.
will accept it.
Fair.
All right. So let's talk about the finale of this movie, actually. So as the movie was going on, I kept thinking, I don't know, this movie might be a lot shorter than I thought. And I thought it was just a regular old anthology. It's cool and all. But then I say, oh, we're working to something else here. We're working up to something completely different. So as it turns out, each time one of these characters, like we brought up before, each time one of these characters killed a predator, another bad blood who is dubbed Grendel King by Ursa is kidnapping them for gladiator fights. So for one, that is actually a really awesome twist, actually. So I want to talk about high key. My favorite thing about it is the language barrier. I actually really love the fact that there's such a language barrier.
That feels intentional because they give them the ability to understand what they're saying, but not what each other is saying. That's fucking whack, bro.
I know. I kept thinking like maybe you'll let them understand one another or something like that. Like, no, they just got to go off their language barrier.
Yeah, well, they get it pretty quick. You know, my man, is it Kenji?
Yeah.
My man Kenji is pretty instinctual, and he kind of figures out what's going on too. I mean, Torres knows too, but the language barrier between those two doesn't really matter so much because of Kenji's instincts.
There's a little. Luckily, we at least know that the Torres is not good at Japanese. He understands a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
And
there's
Ursa
that,
is just just an animal. Ursa's an animal. I mean that
Yeah,
the best way possible.
I mean, and her reaction to what they're put in is very much like to her cultural dynamic. You know what I mean? Like the thrill of the fight, being like you have to be in a fighting pit, this sort of thing. Like that is something that she can easily like understand the savagery side of it, and she's like, "All right, fuck yeah, I'll take these bitches on." It's kind of how I view it. Until later, she eventually kind of understands what they're getting to when we finally get another foe. You know, the big monster guy that they have to fight. Well, not monster guy, like actual predator monster thing.
The Grendel King
creature, the creature.
Yeah.
So, going back to what I was saying about the whole final battle. Yeah, this final battle was really cool. For one, watching them sort of fight one another, only for Ursa to really be the only one who's really down for it.
Easter eggs.
We'll get to that. I just want to talk about the
those
actual.
are my favorite part.
Oh yeah, because that's going to open up a whole new can of worms for the Predator franchise moving forward, which please do. But I'm on Wikipedia right now. I like that the Wikipedia calls the monsters that like go called a Rancor. I'm like, for God's sakes.
Oh yes, well that's the immediate thing I fucking thought. It's like it looks like a bigger, creepier version, or maybe not creepier, but it looks like just a really rougher, like bigger version of a Rancor from Star Wars.
So it's fun to watch them. I can't believe Taurus survived getting eaten by one of those too.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
That makes sense though. I've played too much D&D to understand why that makes sense. My people can get ate by a dragon, and there's genuine statistics for how long you can last inside a large creature's stomach with your oxygen you had from being swallowed.
Fair enough. I was gonna say also Grendel King's design is actually really dope.
Yeah,
that was a dope design for a Predator.
All of their designs, man. I really did enjoy the care and the detail that they put into each one to have them all feel unique. But I just have more questions than answers, so you know. I want to know more. I want to know more.
But so final fight is really awesome, stuff like that. How how it ends up ending is Torres and Kenji end up actually getting away, not before Kenji lost an arm. Oof, rough, buddy. But Grendel's like, oh no, y'all not going somewhere. He's having people hunt them down while Ursa stayed behind to allow the ship to get away. What a badass. What a badass.
Yep.
But it also resulted in her going back into cryo sleep, actually. Alongside, for one, what is this thing called again? Tetrabotryl? What the hell is that? It's something it's something in the Predator comics, actually. That's something that's
it's not something we've seen in the movies yet.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see it in Badlands. And also, motherfucking Naru.
Listen, I said
That was cool.
Dan was like, I loved it. I loved it because Dan and I literally, when I saw the flintlock, because like for chat, the 3 contestants, our humanoid contestants, get something of their era, and now poor Torres was fucking boned.
Oh yeah, that sucked.
This World War II man had to deal with a literal flintlock, like that poor man.
Yeah, that. I mean, cool.
But
Easter egg.
it is the flintlock we see in Prey, and I loved that.
Flintlock has had a journey. Okay, go ahead.
So, with the implication of that gun specifically, so Ursa and Kenshi have to have been there for decades, right? They have done this before.
Yeah.
But this final segment gives us the sense that this is their first time doing it. Maybe they have been in cryosleep the whole time. Maybe
they were. I think that's implied. They have.
Okay. So now you have Torres getting the flintlock, getting the gun, and it's the same gun that Naru gets in Prey, but it's also the same gun that Danny Glover gets in Predator 2. So if we are to assume that this is still 1941 or somewhere within that time frame when they get Torres, it's still World War II time. That's 1999 when Danny Glover gets it. So from now until then, that gun's going to change hands a few times.
Yes, it is.
So is that just what I'm supposed to go off of now? Is there something else going on here? You know?
I wonder.
I bring it up because I give less of a fuck about the human characters are cool in this movie, but I give less of a fuck about them. I want to know what the Predators are doing and how said item goes from A to B. Go ahead, Morgan.
Maybe that's what the anthology series is going to be. I really think there's going to be a series, and we keep seeing this goddamn gun.
They're putting a lot of emphasis on that gun.
That's fine. That's great. I love it. Maybe we're going to get an anthology series about the travels of this goddamn gun.
So here's what I'm thinking too, because remember, Predators established that there were feuding Predator clans and stuff like that. It is very possible that even if the Bad Bloods have it at the moment, will eventually lose their fight to honorable ones, where they will, probably as a trophy, take, hey, this gun apparently that they had, we're taking this. Like that could be the case actually. If this anthology series does go into that, we can learn more about this Predator feud that was alluded to in Predators.
Do we know when Badlands takes place?
Yeah, it's the future. It is the future. By the way, chat says that the plane scene is bullshit.
Oh damn.
I'm still giving it an 8.5 though.
Fair enough. It's still fun.
It's beyond 1990. Correct?
Yes.
Or 99.
We're in the future. We are in the future.
Okay, that's what I thought. Planet. I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Yeah,
in the future on a remote planet. We don't know how far in the future, but it just says in the future.
It's far enough to where we are colonizing planets, obviously, because that's where What's Her Nuts comes into play.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, that's right.
So
we're up. It's been a hot minute since I've looked at that trailer.
Yep.
But
we are up there in the timeline.
Yep, we'll have to see. Well,
it could very well be that there are defectors, people who were born into these type of people, like these type of predators, who want to go the route of glory, who don't breathe this lifestyle, and could be that's how the gun is taken, and then they move and maybe defect from this area to those who they share, to a clan of which they share their values with.
Well, the
Possibly.
implication of the cryo sleep does two things for me. The first is it opens up the door for like Schwarzenegger to come back and shit like that. Like that's cool.
Yes,
But it
that's cool.
also, to me, says that no matter what happens, if you come across a predator and you win, you're still going to end up dying because now they're just going to keep constantly putting you into battle until they eventually defeat you. Like that's the whole point. It doesn't matter
It's
how many of them you kill, they're never going to leave you alone.
That it's possible. That's possible. At the same time,
that sucks.
we also got to keep in mind that two different factions are at work here. So
yeah,
and
I need more of that. I really do.
what I think what my interesting question is, which leads to the ending of Prey actually, because we did discuss. You theorized that maybe Naru would die because those predator ships were shown at the end to be coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Which when I saw the pistols, like, oh, no, did Naru die? Then I was like, wait a minute, we have three different people from timelines. Or is she here somewhere? Because I would say that'd be dope if Naru shows up in the darkness and starts beating asses.
It'd be dope if we get another one and it's Naru, Schwarzenegger, and Danny Glover.
So what I want, no wait, because one of my long-standing questions is what happened to Adrian Brody and Alice Braga. Actually, I've been wondering what happened to
Yeah,
those two.
they could fucking show up. Yeah.
Yeah, they just said we're gonna try to find a way off this planet. We never
that's-
figured out what happened afterwards. They're stuck on that planet.
Isn't that basically what that movie was? That movie was this, where it takes the best and puts them on a planet and says, fucking survive.
Something like that, similar.
That's
because
very
this one
similar.
is more of, hey, I want to watch you guys fight, and whoever's the last one standing, you will face me. But Predators is more like, let's take the worst of the worst, and we're gonna hunt them down and see if we can do it. Actually,
Yeah.
There's similarities, but there's differences. So Bad Bloods seem to think somewhat alike. Just kind of maybe have a different execution of how they want to do their predatoring.
Well, it puts a lot more emphasis on Badlands now. Like, how is this going to extend the lore? Which, for me, I'm over the humans. I'm over them. I want the Predators and whatever's going on with them is way more intriguing to me. And I just got infinitely more questions watching this movie. Like, they finally started to actually give me some lore. And I love it. But, like, God, I want more now. I want this shit to be fucking defined. I want to know what's going on here. Because until you told me that it was the Bad Bloods. The Bad Bloods. Like, I had no fucking idea, right? Like, I know there's different tribes, but I didn't realize it's basically like the right and the left of the Predator.
So, yeah, there's different factions of how they do things. Stuff like plainly just different clans when we saw in Prey.
I need that.
And when it comes to Badlands, like for one, Deck, the character, the Predator in this is a runt and is looking for the ultimate adversary to probably prove himself and everything like that.
Yeah.
Maybe since we have an official Predator main character, we'll actually have probably one of the deepest looks into Predator society. Maybe different clans or how they think and act. I mean, we have an idea of how they think and everything like that, but there's always been a hidden story within the Predator mythos on how they actually work against one another and everything like that too.
Yep.
Because again, the Predators seem to establish that they were trying to make themselves the ultimate hunter by in putting the human DNA into them in different ways. But at the same time, there was enough evidence to say that maybe this is a Bad Blood who's doing this actually.
Yeah. So I'm on board with where they're gonna go with the Predators. The humans are whatever to me, but they're good in this one. They are good in this.
They are.
I do also want to see them branch off, not only like with like stepping away from the humans, but also I want to see them. I want to see them branch off, not only to themselves and the dynamics within like the clans and themselves, but I want to see them branch off into other species. Like we've seen them kind of like the alien. We've seen them with us, the humans, but there are other alien races out there. The comics have confirmed that.
Yeah.
So I want to see.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like I want to see them face off against other species because that could not only open up new avenues for Predator, but also for the Alien franchise. We could see the aliens verse off against other, alien species.
Or different predators, man. I'd love to see a brute go up against a fucking xenomorph. Let me get that stealthy samurai one to go up against some xenomorphs. Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities.
Yeah.
Here. And if you're gonna keep doing animated, then I think the door's wide open. But the thing for cryo sleep is a bit of a downer for me because ultimately you're just there until you die because they're just trying to kill you. They just want to figure it out.
Unless you escape. Unless you escape somehow.
But does anybody ever really escape?
We don't know.
You are
We
correct.
don't know.
We don't know.
Like,
Currently,
this is the
Torres
beginning.
has.
This is
and
the first time we've seen that even in a thing. So who knows?
there isn't to say that there isn't ever like defectors from the Bad Bloods that don't help those who are in the Cairo sleep. We've seen that predators can form, connections and bonds with humans. From was that Requiem?
First one actually.
First one,
We
yeah.
don't talk about Requiem.
I do. Also, I don't know why it didn't dawn on me earlier, but since I'm on the Predator Badlands Wikipedia page,
Mhm.
I keep saying I saw Whalen Yutani Corporation. I'm like, oh shit, oh shit, oh dear God, the Alien vs Predator might return. Also, I wonder too
Please.
if this is going off of the sub universe that Alien vs Predator started, or if it's actually within the Alien franchise since this is the future. This is going to open up a lot of questions that Badlands, I'm going to need you to answer this one.
Well,
Like, how does this
maybe
really
I want them to be in the same franchise.
Yo, maybe there's a hint or something in Alien Earth.
You cut out.
Maybe
where?
there's a hint or something in Alien Earth.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Oh, shit.
Totally.
Speaking of news, we didn't talk about that trailer. Oh, God, I forgot that trailer came out.
I didn't watch that trailer, so
I didn't either.
forgot about
Shit.
it. But yeah, Alien Earth drops soon, I think. Like, I'm looking forward to that.
I might check that out. So,
August 12th.
oh,
Yeah.
I guess, okay.
Oh yeah,
Get some time.
that'll be fun.
And it's so nice that we're finally getting a series rather than just a movie, because they're going to be able to expand upon so much more with like a runtime of a series compared to a movie.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe in the timeline, this is the first time we encounter the fucking xenomorphs anyway. I think.
Say again?
In the timeline of Alien, I think this is chronologically the first time humans in this universe experience the xenomorphs. They show up to Earth because it takes place
for Alien Earth.
for Alien because it takes place in present time, if I'm not mistaken.
Does it? Hold
Um.
on.
So, are you talking about the first time Earth or the first time in like Earthling? Are you talking about like planet Earth?
Like the first time humans in this universe learn of the xenomorphs, I believe is this show.
That could
Well,
be.
I don't know. Well, I'm not saying when Alien Earth takes place in, but I would have thought it was Alien Covenant, because that was actually the first time Xenomorph, the form that we're most familiar with, came to be.
With the Prometheans and shit,
Okay,
I don't know, because
early-
that's also
Alien
deep
Earth
into the future.
is so I just by googling it, it says that Alien Earth is set in 2120,
Oh.
2 years before the events of the original Alien film, which is in 1997. This means that the series takes place 15 years after Alien Covenant and 27 years after Prometheus.
Okay, never mind. I was full of shit.
Okay.
Get right.
Thank you, Morgan.
You're about that. Thank you, Google.
All right. Well, seeing that Alien and Predator are officially not just going to be in the same universe moving forward, it looks like this is going to get interesting. But I think this definitely means. Well, does it? Yeah, it definitely has to mean that Alien vs Predator and AVP are officially non-canon, because that completely breaks the Alien franchise.
Yeah, that is what that would mean. Yeah, but that's fine because like here's connect them this way. Like that's cool too.
Yep. Let's. It's like redoing it. It's kind of like Dragon Ball Super
Unless
Broly.
they have
Yeah,
a fancy
100%.
way of connecting them, who knows?
I want them to be connected, and I hope that's where this is leading, at least on some level. I do want that
Me
because
too.
Alien, AVP, and AVPR, for all the shit that I give it, they're kind of fun.
They're fun. Just they're kind of breaking continuity.
Oh, dude, they
In
have
some major
they
ways.
have their own set of rules.
Yeah,
like-
that's a whole ass separate storyline of how predators and alien. Because shit, now you tell me that predators were around the time when pyramids were.
I
built
do
and
like
shit.
it though. I mean, shit, they were. This tells you they were too. You know what I mean? We may have only gotten that the Viking and the samurai story, but if they do it again, we could get the fucking Incans fighting the predator. We
True.
could get that, and the Mayans duking it out with them. That'd be awesome. So, yeah, the possibility is definitely there. And but I do like that about AVP, that they were like, yeah, the humans are just farms for aliens. Like that actually makes sense.
True.
That's what we are.
Yeah, but ever since Prometheus and Covenant came out, what the actual origin of Alien is. Like, okay, it's changed up now, so
Yeah,
we
fuck
have
you,
to.
Ridley Scott. Whatever. But yeah, I don't have anything else. Despite everything that I critiqued because I just wanted to be a nag. Like I love this movie. This movie is awesome. I'm excited for Badlands now. Like I'm more excited for Badlands because of this movie.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, Badlands does still give me pause because of just what we're looking at, but I'm sure I'll get over it and it'll be fine. But this has me way more hype about it.
Despite everything, what everyone says, I really do have faith that Badlands is going to be awesome.
Awesome.
Honestly, I'm right there with you. Right there with you. I don't get the hate that everybody's giving it. We haven't seen enough to give it enough hate.
I'm not hate. I'm just apprehensive. But that's just like, it's new shit that I haven't seen. It's whatever.
And not to mention Dan Trachtenberg is on it too. Like we're seeing complete evidence that hey, if Dan is working with predators, we gonna be all right. We gonna eat good.
There's a good possibility it's gonna end up being good. You are correct. Yeah, no, I do have faith. I do have faith. It's just uncharted territory. It is what it is. But anyway, now overall score, or is there anything else you guys wanted to touch on?
I'm good for overall.
Okay. Let's do overall.
All right. Overall for me, I'm gonna give it an 8. This is very good. I need to take it in with the other ones because for me right now it's Prey, it's Predator, the original, and then probably this one. But I will give a pause on that and reevaluate.
Okay. I will go next. I'm going to give this movie as a whole. I'm actually, I think I'm kind of there with you. Solid 8 movie.
I
think I give Prey a 9 just for reference. I'm pretty sure I gave Prey a 9.
Yeah, I think we all gave like Prey like somewhere like a 9, 9.5. And funny enough, this is the first time in a long time that all three of us have the same score because I am also an 8 on this film.
There we go. Predator Killers is an 8 on a wannabe podcast rating scale. And I had to think because like I can tell you right now, I know for a fact I like Prey more because Prey was my second favorite movie of 2022.
Yeah.
This is a really good one, but I guarantee you, because I know my 2 favorite movies of the year so far are, and I would not put this with them, but this is a really good one still. This is still good. Thanks. It is a good addition for the Predator franchise. It is an interesting direction that they're taking. It opens up a new can of worms that makes me very excited that characters that I really want to see again might show up again and everything like that, and we might get more depth into the world of Predators.
That's what I'm hoping for, honestly.
Yeah.
It's really,
me too.
Really what I want.
I really hope this opens us up to more of the world of Predator, to just everything, to who they fight. Because if you think about Predator, we saw all the different skulls that he fought in his ship, and like we haven't like some of them we recognize. Oh, there's a bear. There's this and that. But there is other ones that were aliens. One of them I'm pretty sure is the one that we see in the cryo chambers from the I'm blanking on its name, but from the comics that we were just talking about earlier. Like I want to see more of the different creatures that they fight because I think that'd be such a good way to build this world in this franchise. And maybe if we're lucky, and I really hope they do it, I really want them to bring an anthology series that could be a nice introduction to new creatures and races that they fight.
I just thought about something too. Of course, the Easter egg in Predator 2 about the Xenomorph skull. Something else I forgot to bring up that Alien vs Predator has to be come back. The Berserker Predator in Predators, his jaw mandible is actually a Xenomorph mandible.
Yes.
I forgot about that. So this is going to be very interesting to figure out how these franchises are actually going to play out. Maybe they're going to create another sub-universe for Alien, actually.
It seems like they're going to do something, right? Like they have to.
Yeah, because
I genuinely think they will.
Yeah, I don't think you can truly connect this to the first 2 Alien vs Predator movies because of how much continuity that breaks. So that's just its own separate thing. But then Predator 2 established that xenomorphs are apparently a thing, and then Predators had the mandible and stuff like that, and now Predator Badlands shows that Weyland-Yutani is a thing in this world. So maybe we're getting a second sub-universe of Alien. Maybe it's like Marvel and Ultimate Marvel or something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right.
Ultimate Alien? No, Super Alien. Super Alien franchise. I like it.
Well, we did Uber Predator. We can do Uber Alien now.
Let's
It's a
do it.
super alien.
Super Winnie Hut Juniors.
Anything else?
No, I got nothing else.
Okay.
No, I think I'm good.
Ready to wrap up?
Let's wrap it up, y'all.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, thank you everybody that tuned in. We actually had a sizable audience today. We really appreciate those of you that tuned in, everybody that hung out and talked in chat, and everybody that just stuck around until the end. We really appreciate when you guys engage in chat. Actually, let me look real quick. Yeah, YouTube, you got to get it together, man. We need some chat in YouTube. We do check. I check.
I have both up.
But yes, this was a lot of fun. The conversation was great. We have a lot more questions and answers. We're very much looking forward to where this goes in the future. Badlands, I think, has a lot to live up to now. And yeah, this was pretty good. I'm glad we did this. And what are we doing next week?
Next week is How to Train Your Dragon live action.
We got to talk about that, Morgan. I got to figure out when I'm coming to your house.
Come right over right now.
Right now?
Jen and I we already watched it last night. We can watch it again.
We'll talk.
Oh, Lord. We'll figure it out.
We'll talk. But in the meantime, everybody, follow us.
We'll murder you both if we don't review this movie.
You go ahead and drop the socials.
We will. I just want to watch the original first.
Drop the socials.
And I'm willing to do it with you.
All right, everybody. You can find us on all of the social media platforms. So you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, and LinkedIn. So make sure you go over there and follow us. That way you know when we're going live and what we're reviewing. Yeah, so go give us some love on all of them, and it would be greatly appreciated. If you're on Twitch, head on over to YouTube and subscribe to us on YouTube. Ding dong that bell so you get notifications when things are live over on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, head on over here to Twitch. Hit that heart button. That way you're following us here on Twitch as well, and you can watch us live on either platform that you prefer. We're also over on Spotify, where we're slowly getting out our podcast versions, that we can enjoy them on the go. And yeah. Just also a reminder, again, the Father's Day sale is ending soon on June 16th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you head on over, get yourself your discounts of 25% off on our merchandise and others.
Okay. And with that, we will say goodbye to you all. Have a good night. See you next week. Don't forget to popcorn. And follow us on all the socials. We really appreciate it. The more love you show us, it's all gravy. So thank you all again. Have a good night. And Anthony is gonna take us out.
If you forget the popcorn, a predator is gonna show up in your house and shove his blades down your throat, and then an alien's gonna crawl from under your bed and use his little mouth to shove his little mouth up your ass. I'm assuring of that.
I can't leave it on a better note. Good night, everybody.
Hey guys, let's make a porno. Let's make an alien porno, and we can actually make that happen. I want to see little mouth blowjob happening.
There's one about ET.